live and this froze.
It's working. All right. I think we have all of our problems figured out. We're going to try this again.
Yep.
Tonight, we've got an awesome guy that chose to waste an hour or two of his time with us, which is awesome in and of itself.
Mm-hmm.
And we're in front of a live studio audience. It's like 3 people. It's not exciting. But this gentleman is currently the chief operating officer of, I think that's the right term for him, of La Cultura in Kansas City.
He's the head man.
He's a guy. He's a guy. He's a guy there. He works there.
He's an important figure.
He kind of works there. Like on occasion, sometimes actually he doesn't even work there. He's just a figurehead, right? Anyways, no, I'm joking. Before that, he was with Zycar, and he started his time at a wonderful little shop in Kansas City called Fidel's. I could talk about him all night, but we'll let him come on and talk about himself some. His name is Mike Stouse. We commonly and affectionately call him The Machine. Love to see him pop up on the screen right now.
Hey, guys.
What's up, Mike?
What's up?
Good seeing you guys.
Nice to
Beard's
see you as
looking
well.
good.
Yeah, it's coming
back in nicely, isn't it?
Yeah.
After that epic, yeah, I won't go there, man. You got a lot of static.
Well, it's one of those things. I was wondering what all my chins looked like, and I had to take off the beard to find out. So they're all accounted for.
Right. Probably recommend moving forward never to do that again. I think you'd agree with that.
Yeah, it was cool to shave for a while. I mean, I'm not going to lie. It gave me something else in the morning routine while everything else was, society was falling apart and the sky was falling and everything else. It gave me something to focus on. So that's not lame as hell.
We've made it through some of that, so that's good.
No doubt. Yeah, no doubt.
So what's going on, man? How are you?
I'm great. I am great. Retail life, as much as, sitting down across the table from all you guys for almost 10 years, the tired look in your eyes, the sore feet, it's a lot more work than you ever thought, and still didn't prepare me for going back into retail at 44 years old. Managing a shop, co-managing a shop, I should say.
Yeah.
For 6 to 7 days a week for 10 to 12 hour days. It's kicking the shorts, but I haven't been happier professionally. I mean, it's a lot of fun.
Well, you're working with some great people. Ben and his wife are wonderful, wonderful folks. I really got a chance to get to know them at this last trade show that we had back in 2019, and we spent a little time together. And just great people to be working with, man. I couldn't be happier for you on that. But with that being said, we do miss you from the Zycar days, obviously.
Oh, likewise.
And man, we had some adventures with all of that.
Yeah, we did, to say the least. I wouldn't be remiss if I said, I was looking for my Cigar Circus shirt for the 1 year I actually got to get there. Couldn't locate it, and I think it's shrunk over the years, maybe a little bit.
Yeah, that's probably what happened.
Yeah, it's got to be it. It's got to be it.
That high quality cotton shrinks after 5 years.
Yeah. Not before that. I mean, it's got to get a good 5 years in it before it shrink. But no, I definitely miss seeing your guys' faces. It's one of the big things I really do. The biggest thing. I mean, I don't miss the windshield time. I don't miss the time away from the family. Eating a meal through a window most times. I don't miss that. But seeing my friends in the industry more than once a year I was spoiled, to be quite honest.
Yeah. So I was laughing because the night that I really got to know you, we were in Kansas City. We'd stopped by Fidel's. It started to rain. A certain industry maniac, which we won't name tonight. Well, we probably will anyways. Decided at the corner of Westport and Pennsylvania Avenues there, walking back up the street, he decided to Rochambeau me for it, and I didn't know we were Rochambeauing, and just dropped me on the ground. That night, he had never smoked, and my Uzi weighs a ton, which is now referred to as Muat from Drew Estate because they got sued over that one. But anyways, we left that corner after I collected myself back up, and it started to rain, so we decided we'd go into a bar, and we went to a bar. It was called Buzzards Beach. I'm not sure if it's even still there in Kansas City.
Oh, it absolutely is.
We ended up in the basement watching Garrett Calhoun and this particular gentleman fighting over a Galga machine. And at one point, I think you pushed the smaller of the two out of the way and showed him how it was done, if I remember correctly.
That one had been stored away, that memory particular. But yes, you are remembering that correctly. And to be honest with you, the shenanigans started way before that and didn't end till way after that. And that was an infamous night. And yes, you are correct. That's actually the first time I got to even meet you that night. And that was, what was that, fall 2011? Does that sound about right?
Maybe? Yeah. Question mark. All I know is we had a great time.
Yes, we did.
First of many, and we rocked that thing, man. It was a great time. And just in case anybody doesn't know, that was Matt Booth, who I think he might have died that night.
Well, and I wasn't going to go into it, but the deal of it is Matt was somebody I looked to in the industry as just, this new generation that was coming out. I remember the front of Cigar Press magazine where it had Booth and George Rico and Dion and Jonathan Drew, and the list goes on and on. It represented this new generation that was coming into the tobacco industry. This is 2010, 2011, somewhere around there. So Booth was somebody I really looked up to in that regard, of just being that new guy. And that was the first night I really got to hang out with him. By then, Zycar was actually doing the Room 101 cutters. Yeah. And I'd met him at the trade show in 2011, just briefly, just got to shake his hand, tell him how much I respected him, how much I looked up to him. But it wasn't until Garrett brought him into Kansas City that following fall. They stopped by the office, him and Garrett did. And if I remember correctly, it was a Friday night. I got off work at the office. This is before I was on the road. And I went down to Outlaw, and I called my fiance at the time. And I said, not my wife, and said, hey, I want to go meet this guy, hang out with him for a little bit, doing an event. She's like, well, try not to be too late. And I lived about an hour away at the time. And so hung out through the event. At the end of the night, I was like, hey, Matt, great meeting you, Gordon. Great meeting you. And I got to get home. And Booth was like, no, you stay. I was like, all right, I stay. So that turned into, that's probably 8 or 9 o'clock at night, which put me home 9, 10 o'clock. And that seemed reasonable. Next thing I know, it's an hour and a half later. They're kicking us out of Outlaw because they're closing. And Booth's like, all right, you got me, I asked you to stay out. You're staying out. That's great. We're gonna keep this going. We're going to Westport. I just need to go by my hotel. And it was just him and I in the car. You guys had caravan, however else, but you were going up to Westport. And I remember stopping by the hotel, and all of a sudden he tried to puss out.
Yeah.
And I think I called reconnaissance, or we all went to the hotel. I don't remember how it worked. I mean, it's almost 10 years ago, for fuck's sake. At any rate, I remember vividly pulling this gentleman up off the bed saying, no, you said we're going to go. And
there were chips involved. Potato chips.
Oh, that was the carrot, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So we get him back into the car, bar hop through Westport, stop by Fidel's, where I started smoking cigars when I got to Kansas City. That was my local spot. And yes, I did end up moonlighting there. And then we ended up at Power and Light, and I think the night ended up with Matt Booth falling off a mechanical bull at 3 o'clock in the morning.
That did happen.
0.2 seconds. And
that did happen. Yeah.
And at that night, when I helped him get back up from the mechanical bull, he said, you're just the machine. And that's where the nickname came from. So anybody that's met Matt Booth or spent any amount of time with him gets a nickname. And I don't know if it's just his thing or he's shit at remembering names, but he remembers the stories and the name he gives you. So it's very rare to come across somebody that Booth hasn't touched and, oh, what's your Booth nickname? It's almost like playing cards or something.
I really think you probably should be really careful how you say people that Matt Booth touched, because it could be.
Well, have you really been touched by Matt Booth until you've literally been touched by Matt Booth? I mean,
he's an angel, the man.
Again, if you've spent time with Matt Booth, nothing I say is shocking you. Nothing I could say to expand upon it and even lie for 50% of it would shock anybody. So it is what it is.
So funny footnote for that story. I ended up crashing on the floor in Garrett's hotel room that night. And I got woken up about 9 o'clock in the morning to my wife saying, where are you? And I said, I'm in Kansas City. And she goes, what the hell are you doing in Kansas City? And why didn't you come home? And I explained to her the day before that I was, in fact, going to be staying up for the evening. And she apparently thought I was coming home that night. So needless to say, I had to pack up and get home quick. 3-hour drive. Made it, and I'm still married somehow. She's a saint.
Yeah.
But,
I've got one of those as well. And I remember the next evening we were actually going to a cigar function in Topeka, and it was a long night. But we got through it, and every every marriage that's still together after those slight faux pas by the husbands just means it's a strong marriage, and hopefully we've learned our lessons.
She's put up with us.
Yeah. Very much so.
So
yes.
What?
I said, yes.
Yes. There's a question?
Cars on the screen.
Oh. I should be
it is.
watching. Oh, there's something.
Yeah.
Do you see that?
Yeah.
I don't.
Oh, well, that's good because we have some questions.
Yes.
Okay.
So I lovingly refer to your old Fleetwood as Thug Life on Wheels.
Correct.
Well, there's a picture of it parked in a small cars only parking space.
Yeah, I couldn't get it to fit in traditionally, so I had to perpendicular park it. Yeah, perpendicular parking is what I call that.
So, Kansas City, like any big city's got a few seedy areas.
Mhm.
Did you ever roll down the street and have a bunch of women chasing you and calling you daddy? Like, stop, daddy. You left me.
I have not. Had I been driving that maybe 20 or 30
I'm
years
not gonna throw your
earlier,
wife- I'm not
possibly.
gonna throw this over your wife or anything. I just thought,
Yeah, no, I have definitely made a round turn down some seedy parts of Kansas City while just exploring the city in said Cadillac, and drove up on for those old enough to remember the colors, a conversely colored group of individuals to my blue car, and I got a death look, and I had enough room to turn around and go a different direction. And at that point, I was like, I'm too far where I should be. So, but that's really the only time I've ever had anything under happen.
Yeah, 29th and Paseo is probably not a place for you to leave that car.
It was probably pretty close to that.
Yeah.
One night the windows did get broken out. While I was working at Fidel's, it was in the parking garage there in Westport, and came out to no driver's side window, which, yeah. But the funny thing is, stupid me had about $300 worth of, I don't do this anymore. So if you see my car, it's not in there.
Don't rob me.
Yeah. I had about $300 worth of cash in the visor just for meals and whatnot for my stipend. And stupidly me, a extra set of keys in the console, and nothing was stolen, nothing was taken. Car was still there, cash was still there. Floor, my salesman samples from Zycar was still there. Just I was less a broken window. So
you drove that on the road for like
yeah, it was
a
nice.
year or two, right?
I did. It was 3 years. 3 years. That was my daily driver. The first cigar circus and only cigar circus I made it to. I made it to Wichita in that. That was about 2 weeks after I got the car. I bought it. It was, let me do the math, 23 years old when I bought it, had 38,000 miles on it. So very original. And as you can imagine, on a car that old, and G's already nodding his head here. He knows what's up. Leaving Cigar Circus about 11 o'clock, instead of getting a hotel, instead of sticking around, instead of partying, I decided, you know what? I'm going to go home. I'm going to be a good boy. I filled up on the interstate, and as soon as I got off the island, next exit about 10 miles away, I got a overheating. I got a pull over soon. I got a danger, the whole 9 yards, and I lost my water pump on the turnpike 11 o'clock on a Saturday night. And long story longer, El Dorado was able to pull off there, find the last hotel room in town, and spend a couple hours the next morning in a O'Reilly parking lot replacing the water pump. So,
Excellent.
yeah. So you've got to earn it to drive a car like that. And you
That's
spend
right.
a lot of time listening. What's that smell? What's that sound? It's just you're always in tune. So now I have a Ford Flex, plenty of room. I know it's going to start when I get in. I know the air conditioning works. I know the heat works. I know the windows are going to work. And it's nowhere near as cool looking, but I know I'm going to get there and back. So
Yeah. So when I met you, I hung out with you at Weston. What was it? 3 years ago now, probably. And so before I went up, I was telling Gio I was going up, and he was like, yeah. So he clues me in on this. He goes, our Zycar guy drives this really cool Cadillac. So as we're walking into Weston, we go right by your car. And I was with Doug and Dwayne. And I go, I know that guy. And they're like, how do you know that guy? And I go, you'll see. And that was the first time I got to see the legend, or as I like to call it, Thug Life on Wheels. And
there you go.
Hung out and had a good time. And that was quite the entertaining.
Cadillacs have a history of being things that just don't want to do exactly what you want them to do when they want you to do them. When you want
Right,
them to
100%.
I don't know if you were. Yeah, you were with Sidecar at that point. We did the trade show in New Orleans in 2015, and with Dissident Cigars, we drove down and we used the limousine. We had a '93 family car that had like 30,000.
What was that? What was that line again?
Oh, look at that! Look at that! I think it's called Dissident. That's one of the old
something like that.
Yours is still really red. Mine's mostly gone. That's nice. That's nice.
Well, I got a couple cutters to play with, so it's not a daily use.
That's good. That's good. So we were there and we stayed at a house with some of the guys from Underground Cigar Shop down in Dallas. Mm-hmm. And the second day we were trying to move the car and it just wouldn't start. So we ended up getting a tow truck to come and pick the car up. And we had a third person that was helping us that time. And we were going to take it to the dealership. So I called the dealership. I'm like, hey, can you take this car and fix it? I don't know what's wrong with it. And they're like, we can't fix it. I'm like, well, do you know anybody that can? They won't tell me anything about it. You know, they're like, we don't really have anybody that we recommend. So I start calling everybody everywhere. And I end up calling the dealership back. And I'm like, look, man, I'm stranded. I'm 1,200 miles from home. I don't know what to do with this car, but I need to get it fixed. And they say, oh, well, there's a shop right across the street that we send all our old Cadillacs to, anything that's older than what we work on. So they're like, yeah, we'll send a tow truck out. So they get the tow truck. Our third guy is waiting for the tow truck. The tow truck guy comes, picks up the car, and doesn't even tell him he's picking up the car. Just scoops it up and takes off. So my guy that was working with us is like, hey, somebody just stole the car. I'm on the middle of the showroom floor trying to figure out what happened to the car. Oh, I call the shop that I start calling the shop like 30 minutes after this happened. I'm like, hey, did you get the car? Their phone won't answer. Like it's just on, like, it's like off the ringer, And finally, like 3:00 in the afternoon, they call and they're like, hey, we've got your car. What's funny, though, is, and I won't put him on blast, but there's a gentleman that works in the industry who grew up in New Orleans. And I asked him, I said, hey, man, I need a mechanic. And I was on the floor trying to find somebody that could fix this thing before we found out that the dealership recommended these guys across the street from him. And I went to this guy and I said, hey, man, I need somebody to fix my car. And he's like, oh, yeah, my cousin's a mechanic here in New Orleans. I'm like, oh, cool, man. Well, we got to get our Cadillac over there. He's like, wait. You talking about the limousine? I said, yeah. He goes, oh, hell no, don't take it to my cousin. He'll end up in a chop shop. So we were right back to square one.
Oh, okay. I was there for New Orleans, but I did not know any.
Yeah, that was shenanigans.
So what was the outcome?
So they called me in the morning of the third day of the show, and they said, hey, you have two options. We can fix your car. It'll take us 3 days and $800. And basically, it's just there's a wire that's a jumper wire that connects the ignition switch to the anti-theft system, and that breaks really regularly. Apparently, on those models, they only did it for a year or two, and then they quit doing it that way because it always broke. Right. So they said it's $800 to replace that. And I'm like, holy crap! And they're like, or option 2, we can have it ready in about 45 minutes, and that'll cost you $300. And I said, well, let's do option 2. He goes, okay, it'll be ready in about 30 minutes. We already started. Classic New Orleans, man. Classic New Orleans. You get the fancy fix or the cheap fix. Either way, you're getting the cheap fix, and it's going to cost you.
Oh, my God.
So we went and picked up the
cheap
car.
Fix was just the shittiest of cable to do the easiest jump, ground it down.
We didn't have a problem. We drove it all the way home. No issues, man. But anyways, what can you do? It's a Cadillac, right?
No, absolutely. No, I thought, and it's funny because when I had the breakdown, when I got the Caddy, my wife said, are you sure that's an old car? I was like, honey, if anything happens to it, I can fix it. And I was like, it's old enough. I grew up working on cars. I mean, never had a new car growing up. So it was just something you did. I mean, you and I have talked about with you and your son. Same thing my dad did for me, just work on cars, learn how to fix them. So you're set. And I swear to God, Gordon, the first night that something broke in that car when I was pulling into it, I was like, shit, tomorrow's Sunday. There's going to be shops open on a Sunday to fix it for me. How am I going to do this? And that was like, oh, yeah, I told Anna if something broke on it, I can fix it. So I guess I'll pick up a set of sockets while I'm at O'Reilly's.
And a whole tube of RTV. Everything will work out. No worries.
It'll be great.
Yeah. So tell us about your new adventure over there at La Cultura. August, September of last year, I stopped by the shop. The shop was getting ready to relocate at the time. It just had opened 2 years prior, and part of the building was sold, and they got the boot from where they originally were. So they were moving over to a new shop where we're at now. Bigger space, more of a freestanding parking lot, just everything.
really want. Yeah, in a parking lot. I mean, everything you would really want out of a shop. I mean, just a really nice setup, real convenient, real easy to build out. So they're in there working on that, and I was ready to make a change. I'm not going to badmouth Quality Importers. I think they're a great company, and they're still putting out a great product that I still love. But I was ready to do something different. Yeah, I need to be home. And we worked around it anyway, but it felt like it wasn't the right fit for me trying to do stuff over the phone. Versus, I always preferred the face-to-face, and we just couldn't do that, and I didn't know what the end in sight was. So at any rate, I'd had an interview outside the industry, stopped by La Cultura. Ben being hey, how's it going? He's going to stop anything to make you feel like his best friend, even if he's only met you 5 minutes ago. He's just that kind of guy.
Right.
And I had actually known him for 5 years when I was working at Fidel's. He had actually started, I trained him his first night, and then he ended up, being my boss and somebody I'm pretty much in bed with now. But at any rate, he said, what have you been up to? And I told him, just got done with a job interview. And he said, well, shit, I didn't know you were looking to make a move. And I said, yeah, I think it's time. And he said, well, we're looking to bring on GM. And he gave me a dollar amount. And I said, I'd love to come work with you. I'd love to come work with Swinney, but wasn't quite right. But he said, well, let me talk to Swinney, which is his money guy and partner. And that was on a Friday. Came back the following Monday, and instead of GM, it was COO, and instead of the dollar amount he gave, it was where it needed to be for me and my family. So I jumped at it, and it's really been a blessing. It's a lot of work, but I'm meeting new people every day, and I'm seeing old faces that I've known since I moved to Kansas City in 2009 that are coming in that I didn't get to really see that much before, and it's all of a sudden broadening my network personally, where if, something comes up, or, hey, can I recommend a lawyer? Can I recommend, somebody to tailor clothes, or, who just got a COVID shot, where did you go? Because my father-in-law is trying to get one. I mean, it just, all of a sudden you go from going, well, I think I might know somebody, to just blank, I've got a guy now. And that's, on top of meeting new friends, that's been huge for me. I mean, it's just been great getting to meet more people and just being able to talk about cigars. And, the same reason I got into the industry is the same reason I come to work today, even, because it's just, we get to make friends over this bundled up bit of leaves that has been touched by so many hands. And now I'm selling it for a living and just making new friends from it. So it's been a lot of fun.
That's this, La Cultura is the name of the brand of the shop that you're at. And that's really, it sums it up, man. If you go to a cigar shop and they don't have a guy for something, well, they're probably not a very good cigar shop.
Right.
At the end of the day. So with that, I mean, this leads right into, tell us a little bit about this La Familia Robeña box press Toro that I'm getting ready to light right now. Ben was kind enough, Ben and Michaela sent this to us earlier in the week, and I gave all of the guys one. I'm getting ready to fire mine off right now. So tell us a little bit about it.
So Hirocho Robaña and Spencer Drake with White Hat Cigars, we've had a great partnership with those guys, carrying almost all their facings. And Ben and Spencer were able to actually strike a deal last summer for this particular cigar. So what you're smoking is Hirocho Robaña's Signature Series. It's basically a line extension. He's already got 6 full sizes of the Signature, but what he did was a double box pressed. It's Nicaraguan binder and filler. The filler is from Jalapa and Esteli specifically, and it's over a Ecuadorian Habano wrapper from Habano 2000 seed. It's made at La Corona factory by Omar Gonzalez's son, Luis Omar, and it's just a fantastic smoke. It retails for $14.75, and the deal we were actually able to get done with Spencer was we are the global exclusive provider of that particular size of the Signature line. So it is a La Cultura exclusive. You can only get it through us. It retails for $14.75, and it's predominantly mentioned on our website if somebody's interested in it. But it's a medium plus standard size Toro in a double box press. So those not familiar, it's binder and filler put in a box press mold, wrapper put on it, then box pressed again. Smokes real spicy off the first third, then it just mellows out and it's good. Just smooth silkiness. I can get my tongue untied there. But a fantastic smoke. It's been our consistent #1 seller. Of course, with it being a global exclusive, we tout that up because, I mean, that's either a question that gets asked or it's something we definitely try to lead guys to, just because it's something different to our shop, something that's a unique experience for us. And it's definitely something we're going to expand on in the future when we've got the opportunity to.
Yeah, this is a great blend anyway.
Yeah.
It's really nice, man. I just lit it and it's already really, really tasty.
It's a crowd pleaser, you know, and I for months was able to say, hey, if you come back and tell me you don't like it, you'll be the first guy. And then I did have somebody come back and he told me, you know, he said, Mike, you know, it's not that I dislike it. He said, but it's just not for me. And I said, okay, well, I'll take it because everybody's palate's different. And I totally get that. And if everybody's palate would be the same, there'd only be one cigar out there. And I'd rather them, you know, be as many plethora of different lines and smokes we've got out there and, you know, try to chase that dragon rather than just have one to play with. So, you know, if one out of thousands that we've sold didn't hit a guy, that's fine. I'll take those odds all day long.
Yeah, that ain't bad. We've got a question off of Facebook. Our good friend Cody. You remember Cody from the circus? He was the
absolutely
in the hat. He wants to know. He wants to know what's your favorite thing to pair with.
You know, it's a shout out to Nabil at Old Town Cigars. He actually turned me on to Monkey Shoulder one night that I was at his shop. I'm not a huge Scotch guy. I think I do pretty well with knowing cigars, but Ben's a huge whiskey guy, and he could name off this and name off that. But I keep it simple, and I, you know, if I've got any room in my brain, it's figuring out what we're doing on our website or coming up with new content or learning about a new cigar. I just don't have the throughput or the headspace to even go, well, this whiskey's from this. I can't do it. So my default's always going to be Monkey Shoulder Neat.
That's a pretty good answer.
Works for me.
Yeah, it's a really nice blended Scotch.
Yes, it is.
Very smooth, not horribly expensive, and still just a nice drinker. So, what's a challenge you have found since you're moving back into retail?
It is, with this being the new shop and a new location, we opened up a new set of rules. So, you know, it's from my years in the industry of, you know, spending time in shops from Wichita to Chicago. I thought I had a pretty good grasp on it, but with the whole pandemic situation through a monkey wrench, that, you know, that particular tool and skill set wasn't in the tool bag, so to speak, when I started. So, I mean, that's probably been the biggest challenge, is making sure we've got people adhering to the rules and, you know, worried about making sure we don't get over capacity, you know, that whole thing. Other than that, we did go to a members only lounge when we started the shop back up. And we've got it set up pretty aggressively, but it's basically $10 a month. Gets over the minimum pass that we would have, or the minimum purchase we would have otherwise, which is $25 in cigars to use a lounge. So there's a little bit of pushback on that because it was just, I don't want to say a free-for-all, but it didn't have the strict rules that you kind of have to have in place, especially in an entertainment district. So that's probably been the biggest challenge that we've had. And then the tracking of the memberships, because they've been insanely popular. We've got memberships that include lockers, access to a private room that we've got, or a private lounge we've got upstairs, access with that and lockers. So there's 4 different levels of memberships we've got, in addition to, you know, keeping up with everything else that's going in the shop. So it's been a new challenge whatsoever, but I think from just opening a new business with a new mindset and new set of rules has been definitely the biggest challenge.
We've got a guest with us here tonight, and he'd like to know if you will meet with him on Tuesday. His name is Patrick Carmichael, and he'd like to see you on Tuesday, just so you know.
Well, he did. Sorry, I'm smoking in my office, and I don't have any ventilation in here. Not indicative of what the rest of the shop is. I've just got some guys out there playing pool right now. But yes, Patrick and I did exchange text messages like a good rep. He scheduled ahead, and I'm trying to leave probably around 6:30 Tuesday, and he's trying to meet up before 6. But yes, Patrick, look forward to seeing you, buddy.
There's your answer.
Yep.
He's very happy. He's very happy. All right, so I've asked this to every person that we've had on, and this is one of my favorites. So, what's one thing you screwed up really bad, and no one knows that you did it until now? They always got to think about it.
Oh, man. Yeah, that's
I still
a
don't
tough
have the
one.
answer, so don't ask me.
Gosh. Nothing that comes to mind, because I'm over apologetic to a fault. So yeah.
Well, all right. I'll let you think about that.
I mean, maybe. I mean, the only thing I could think of is 7 years old stealing a pack of bubblegum from the IGA. Not that I'm a saint by any stretch. I'm not trying to come across that way. Just nothing that I can think of that I haven't shared with anybody that I would care to share. I guess best way to put it.
It's all good, man. We'll leave it at the pack of gum when you were 7 and telling your wife that everything was going to be fine with your car.
Yeah.
Well, anyway,
she definitely found out I was wrong on that one.
Can't hide everything.
No.
But anyways, man, the most interesting thing I think about this La Cultura shop that you have now is that it has a certain vibe to it, man. Everybody that I've talked to has said, God, this is so cool. Like it's not edgy. I wouldn't call it like an edgelord kind of a shop, but it's definitely a shop where people feel welcomed, and it's got this vibe to it that's something different than everything else that's out there, and can't be mad about that at all.
No, it's definitely something that, it's Ben and Swinny and I really have the mantra of, if it's not taking place inside the four walls of the shop, we really don't care. It's not that we're not cognizant of our competition, but we're not trying to follow a path that's already out there, and we're not trying to do anything that's already been done. And, yes, I bring experience to the table, and Ben brings a lot of experience to the table as well, managing, this is now his third location that he's managing. But it's one of those things that we try to do right by the customer, and we're greeting them when they come in. It's with a smile. It's the old school things that when you go out, whether it be out to eat or to a retail establishment or anything in the service industry or anything where you're dealing with somebody that represents a company, we're trying to give them the experience that you would want walking into our doors. And that's really the only secret sauce we've got, other than Ben is the P.T. Barnum, the Pied Piper. If you're around that man, he's got this magnetic energy that just makes you feel welcome. I'm the guy that's trying to, keep the laces intact and make sure all the I's are dotted, T's are crossed, Swinny and I. But, at the end of the day, it's between trying to treat the customer right, having Ben in our corner, I'll take on anybody with that. I mean, it's just, that's what it is. It really comes down to that.
Would you say that some of the vibe has to do with your location of your shop? You're in the entertainment district.
With the old shop, yes. Even though it's less than a mile away, where the old shop was right next to some bars, and definitely was in the Crossroads district, entertainment district.
Mm-hmm.
Where we're at right now is actually just right off of I-35, just as close as you can be. I mean, it's our back deck. You're looking right at I-35, just across the street.
You're basically on the other side of the airport, right? The downtown airport on the other side.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's basically, if you're looking at that intersection where the airport's at, we're diagonal from it.
Okay.
But to answer your question, the crowd that we retained from the last shop, while it was an entertainment district, definitely does influence the vibe of the shop. So in a roundabout way, yes, Todd, absolutely. But it's not because we're still necessarily there. So what we're doing now with the location that we're at now, it's a lot easier to get to. I mean, it's the easiest shop. Outlaw up north, they're right off a highway as well. So, I mean, 611, half a dozen the other as far as being close or calling a shop the closest or easiest to get to, because we're both very close. But we get a lot of transient people that come in here. We've got the hangover crowd from the last shop now coming into this one. We just keep sucking more people in, and it's just been amazing. Our numbers have been through the roof.
Well, there's an interesting synergy in that area that you guys are at, although you're kind of tucked up kind of into the northwest corner of that area, but it's not really ridiculous if you're 2 miles away to say, hey, let's go over and smoke cigars here. I hear it's a good place. So
oh gosh no it's gosh, I might need to move out to the lounge. No, it definitely helps. I mean, I've been a big believer in location, but this one definitely has it.
Man, so things have obviously changed, and I'm not going to bag on quality importers because they're doing a great job with what they've got.
Yep.
But, I remember a trade show where one of my associates walked up to the Zycar booth, and there was a nice young lady who claims she's much older than she looks, but she's a nice young lady who took a lighter out of a friend of mine's hand, threw it in the trash, and handed him a new lighter.
Yep.
With Xikar being the brand that it is, where we'll replace it if it's bad or broken or flawed in any way, and with them still following behind that, but now it's a little bit more difficult process. Do you see some competition now coming out that might actually be able to compete with Xikar in any way?
I think Lotus is doing some exciting things. I mean, their price point with the Vertigo line has always been extremely competitive, and it was something that Xikar always challenged. Kurt famously said during one, I don't think I'm going Kurt back too much since he sold the company, but he famously said, he's not going to chase anything. He's not going to race to the bottom, was his exact words. So we never really dipped below that $30 price point because it helped the integrity of the brand to be up there. When the Xikar brand was acquired by Quality Headquarters, with them having a much more fulfilling line with Paleo, they were able then to have more, being able to walk into the shop, and I said it from the first day that Xikar was acquired. I was able to have more tools in the tool belt, basically, because I didn't have that sub 30 lighter, I didn't have wooden humidors, and I didn't have, other cutters besides anything lower across the X8. So it was a good fit for that. There's definitely a possibility for another guy to come out with accessories. I think Lotus has done a pretty good job of backfilling a lot where shops that used to be predominantly Xikar. But at the end of the day, if somebody steps up to the plate, it's anybody's for the taking, including Zykar's again. They could come back to prominence the way they were before. If anybody's going to do it, the guy that owns it, he has the capabilities to do it.
Yeah, I think it's just a matter of time, man. I think they're going to get that thing figured out, and they're going to be rocking and rolling again.
Right. And to be honest, the change in the warranty, Xikar was never meant to have the in-store warranty. It was something that was granted to a couple shops, and then a couple more shops, and then the cat was out of the bag. And Xikar was never one that was actually going to invest into doing an RMA process to be able to really better track the products when they came in. They had one guy who was full-time let me go through baskets and look through sales orders and look through this, look through that. So it was a cumbersome project that they had. The difference was the guys that were working on the lighters had years of experience working on, so they were able to turn them around a lot quicker.
So, Mike, do you have your I don't mean to cut you off. Do you have your cell phone electronic device close to maybe your mic or something? Because we're getting some really weird static coming across.
It's Terminator.
I was laying on the desk. I've got nothing else on the desk but my laptop.
Still doing
Yeah, maybe wiggle your microphone a little bit.
My phone's about 5 feet from me now. I'm using actually an external webcam. I can try flipping over. Maybe that'll, because I'm just doing Bluetooth on that.
I don't know, man. This is I think there's a Terminator mic instead of a regular mic, Staus.
Let me disconnect my headphones real quick and reconnect.
You sound like the machine.
All right, is that better?
Oh, there it goes.
There it goes.
Is that better?
Yeah,
Much better.
Okay.
You fixed your voice box. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
I think
I think it's, they definitely have the want on the brand. They invested millions of dollars in acquiring that brand and a substantial more amount doubling down on that brand. So, those that have fallen off the wayside is, I think they'll get it turned around.
But yeah, so that's I think they'll return to prominence. In the meantime, I think you're absolutely right. Lotus is stepping up. There's a new brand down from out in Texas that several of our reps have talked about. Patrick? What's the lighters? Vsol. I kept wanting to say Diesel. I knew that wasn't right. Yeah, Vsol is doing some cool things, and they're kind of doing a similar setup, and they're making some nice products. So I think they're going to come back with some competition, but I think Zykar's still going to be able to do what they do. So that's great. They still have the cutter, the proprietary cutter, and I think they're going to do just fine. But I'll tell you what, man, there were some adventures had with all things Xikar. The Cigar Circus event that we used to do was insanity. With over 30 vendors there and all the principals from those vendors. I don't know how anybody would ever have survived that thing. It was always a crazy day.
I don't know how you and Ryan survived. Well, Ryan maybe didn't, but yeah, I don't know how you guys survived that year after year after year. I mean, I felt smart when I took off that night, but man.
You missed all the adventures, man.
I did. And, I mean, the pain of the hangover I would have had the next day would have been long gone by now, and I would have the stories and the memories to remember, but you got to live with your choices too, so that's where we're at. But that doesn't mean there can't be new adventures to be had.
Yeah, and that's fine. We'll get there again, man. We'll do some fun things.
Absolutely.
So anyways, I digress. With La Cultura, you guys have seen amazing growth over the last few years. Now that you're over there too, it's rocking and rolling. Do you think you're going to see maybe another store in the future? Are you guys going to stay with one? What's on the horizon?
On the horizon, really remains to be seen. We definitely, if the right opportunity came in play, we definitely would be looking to expand. Right now, we're focusing on expanding our wholesale market that we've got right now. There's another competitor here in town that's really got that locked up. So there are some opportunities in Kansas City to do some accounts, but then we're also working on our internet side as well and trying to get that beefed up. So we're making sure we've got a good, solid foundation underneath us, and getting a good client base set up, because if maybe a second location happens, that would be something I would move over to go ahead and take over, and then my COO position, basically put the policies and procedures as I've written for this location into the next one. So it's a ways down the road, but never say never.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah. So this is a question I like to ask everybody, but since you're not a rep, you're going to give a better answer. Not that reps don't, but what is some stuff that is fire that people should be smoking that maybe they haven't heard of?
Right now there's some really good stuff coming out of Aganorsa. We got the Supreme Leaf in a couple months ago, and those were absolutely amazing. We've also brought in Casa Cuevas recently. Both their I would butcher the name, but it's translated from Little Sledgehammer, or not Little Sledgehammer, I'm thinking Padron, Sledgehammer.
Mandarina.
The Mandarina, yeah, excellent smoke. Every time we get that in, we can't keep it in stock. Dapper, we brought those guys in also a couple years ago, and those have been absolutely amazing for us. Those are the big ones that we seem to be doing really, really well with, and that's in addition to the standards. RomaCraft is by far and above our biggest vendor right now. And of course, we've got Tatuaje, Oliva, all the staples. But yeah, Casa Cuevas, Dapper, those are the big ones right now for us for new stuff.
Dude, that Casa Cuevas Connecticut is like a Nicaraguan Davidoff. I mean, that thing is a tasty, tasty cigar.
It's quickly moved into one of my normal coffee smokes in the morning.
Yeah, that'd be perfect for that.
Yeah, I usually switch it up between the Superfly Corona, the Connecticut Corona, the something from EC, the Intemperance line, and then that Connecticut from Casa Cuevas, just absolute fire smokes.
They stopped by one day a couple weeks ago. We had some good weather coming through, and they were kind of in a hurry because their flights were all screwed up. But I got to talk to them for a few minutes, and the young man that they've got working for them is a sharp character. I think that's the son, and the old man and his son were both here, and just sweet as could be, man. Good people and great cigars for sure.
Yeah, our rep actually called us last week. I think they're going to be coming by here either first or second week of March, stopping by. So yeah, I'm looking forward to meeting them.
Yeah, really good people, man. With that, I know who their rep is. So, Corey Frisbee is such a good guy.
Just salt of the earth.
Yeah, good folks, man, for sure. And that event that you met Todd at was actually his event. Well, him and his son's
Western
event.
Tobacco Fest.
Yeah, Western Tobacco. That's a heck of a thing. Kansas City, a lot of people don't realize it, but that's a big cigar community. You don't have a ton of shops, but every shop up there has got their own little thing going on, and it's a great market, man. I'm really glad to see you guys up there doing that.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's we started up just over 2 years ago, so 2 years and change ago. Matt Murphy, the former Ashton rep, is getting ready to open up a shop in Olathe as well.
I had heard about that.
Yeah, so there's still a lot of real estate in Kansas City to go around, especially where Matt's going to. He's going to be in the southwest corner. He's going to be a half hour from Outlaw. So, I mean, he's really tapping into an underserved market. So Yeah, I mean, we've got our own piece of the puzzle. We're all scrapping over, the jigsaw pieces that are laying off to the side that everybody's trying to grab. But everybody stays in their lane. But yeah, no matter what kind of vibe you're looking for in a cigar shop, you can definitely find it in Kansas City.
Were you with us that night when Jonathan Vandenberg ended up moving out of Kansas City and down to Texas with Davidoff, and we went up and did the Pendergast room?
Mhm.
Were you with us that night?
Yep.
I can't remember.
Yeah, my wife and I came that night for a little while.
Yeah.
Yep.
That Pendergast room, man, that's something else. That's a cool spot.
Yeah, we're just actually, gosh, maybe 15 blocks from them.
Oh wow,
that's one of our wholesale accounts, and we've got a great relationship with those guys. But it's the throwback speakeasy, totally private clubs. They can get away with drinking and smoking because that's actually written into the KC bylaws that you can't serve drinks and be able to smoke in an establishment. So, but yeah, they're able to get away with it because they're a completely private club. But it's an awesome spot. And named after Pendergast, one of the not founding fathers, one of the infamous mobsters from Kansas City.
He definitely ran it for a while.
Yes, definitely did.
That room has a vibe, man. That upstairs area is definitely an entirely different place than the beautiful steakhouse kind of thing that they have downstairs.
Yeah, the Majestic with the live jazz 7 nights a week, and then you go upstairs and it's just who knows what was said in these walls 40, 50, 10 years ago. Who knows?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just one of those places that if the walls could talk, the stories it could tell would be just mind-blowing.
Yeah, the place is very, very cool. I'm glad to hear that you guys have a relationship working with them because if I sneak up to Kansas City, man, that's a spot I try to get over to. That's cool.
Well, if you can't get in, I know a spot not too far from there that you'll have no trouble.
You know a guy. See?
You know a guy. You know a guy.
Touche. That's hilarious. What is going on? Are you guys going to be getting some of the new craft? Have you heard anything about that? The Roma Craft?
We haven't heard any sort of final confirmation. We did have the 2020. I do still have boxes available. So if you did not partake in the Roma Craft 2020 and would like to inquire, slide into my DMs. But no, we had just incredible growth last year with Roma Craft. Obviously, to be one of the 10 fortunate enough to have the Craft 2020.
Yeah.
And with them announcing that it will be going to up to half the retailers this year, knowing where our position is in that company and the growth we had, I can't imagine we wouldn't get it. But I'm going to leave that 1 little % open of, like I said earlier, never say never. So no firm confirmation, but feel pretty good about it.
That's good. Yeah, that's a hell of a cigar.
Yeah. So on the Roma Craft end of it, is there quite a bit of people in Kansas City that just actively seek that brand out, or is it something that you guys do particular where you brought it in the shop and you got people on it?
More the latter than the former, surprisingly enough. I would have definitely thought it would have been more of a seeking it out type of thing. So that's those that already know about Roma Craft. I mean, it's a different type of guy than it is your average cigar smoker. They're somebody that's already looked for it. They're not going to beat around the bush or, hey, I heard you had Roma Craft or anything like that. We post about it enough that by the time they get in there, they're not showing those cards, I guess the best way to put it. There isn't a whole lot of those. More times than not, we've got it, I can take you guys on a quick tour here in a minute. But it's predominantly shown in our humidor. It takes up a whole wall. And it's one of those things that, if somebody if they don't know what kind of cigar they want, if they don't know basically what they want, we're walking them to it and making sure they know about it because it's a huge part of our brand.
Yeah, I know that you guys have continuously done extremely well with that brand. That's one that we do business with. They're good people.
Good people, good brand.
Known Mike for a million years, man. Mike Rosales is his father-in-law.
Do you go back to the Adrian days, or?
Oh yeah. So actually, for my guy Troy's birthday this year, he got one of the old Black Band Adrians. So it wasn't the oldest, but it was one of the older ones. And he was like, "Oh my god, dude! It was with the little Maduro Corona." And that thing had to have been 10 years old, and he was just dumbfounded by it. It's a beautiful cigar. So Mike Rosales' father-in-law lives maybe 5 minutes away from us, and so we see him on a pretty regular basis.
Oh, no kidding.
Man, he gets it done. That guy's got to be at least 60 years old, and he's still pouring concrete,
Pouring concrete, like
raising all kinds of hell, man. Playing golf and
Well,
pouring concrete.
and you know, the apple doesn't fall very far from the tree. I mean,
That's
you know,
true.
if you've ever, you know, if you've had any dealings with Romacraft, you've dealt with Mike's wife Jamie, and that girl is on top of it. She hustles. So to hear that about her father, it doesn't surprise me in the slightest.
Yeah, he definitely instilled work ethic. That's for sure.
just
Yeah, no doubt.
Hell of a good guy, though. And like
Good.
I said,
I didn't realize he was that close.
yeah, he's literally 5 minutes away. So that all started because he came into my old store, God, almost 15 years ago, and was like, "Hey, you got to try these cigars. They're from Costa Rica. My son-in-law makes them." And I'm like, "Yeah, Costa Rica. You know, who makes cigars in Costa Rica? Whatever, man. This is like my second year in the business." And so he brings in a couple of them.
The second year where you know everything, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So he brings in a couple of cigars and we smoke them. We're like, dude, these are actually really good. And then Mike shows up for, I think it was Thanksgiving or Christmas, one of the two. But he's like, yeah, and he sits with us and we talk some, we wrap some. He throws some other things at us and then some other things. And he's like, try this, try this. And they had like 5 or 6 lines at that point, and they all had the same lithograph bands. And to see the evolution to what it is now, where everything is very clean and very organized and succinct versus what he had then, which was still very good, but definitely different than it is now. And it's just been a really cool thing to see that progression over the years. Yeah, it's amazing what that brand has done, for sure. So you said you're going to walk us around, show us a little tour.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
This is fun. I've not done one of these before. This is a cool
this is
idea.
actually a good idea.
Well, and that's why I actually grabbed my
Yank
camera.
computer off the wall.
No, we're doing all laptops.
Hang on, actually, I forgot. Only one in here, but I forgot I got to grab my mask.
Oh yeah, you got to wear a mask.
Got to wear a mask. Talking about all these new rules, I got to make sure everybody does. And I'm
That's
just gonna
right.
walk out with these
You can't
people.
smoke with a mask on. We got to figure that out.
My son sent me a TikTok. It was George Lopez, and he had one of those paper disposable ones, and he had it just cut right through here, smoking a cigar, listening to Lowrider. So
I guess it works.
I guess it works. But as I was mentioning, that is the Romacraft wall. So when you walk into the humidor right there,
Oh yeah.
that bumps you out right there. So it's kind of hard to miss, I guess the best way to put it.
I like the art. That's cool.
Yeah, it was Skip and Ben had a great rapport. And, he reached out and he said, you're moving a lot of product. I'd love to send you some artwork. I know you're not a guy to really put swag in the shop. And this is really the only swag we even have in the shop. It's just Romacraft art. And because Ben's just he loves art. That's just all there is to it. So we jumped at the chance to at least grab that. So it works well, and it makes for a great backdrop for the Instagram. So, but the rest of the humidor, I don't need to bore you with everything. But we've got the staples. There's the Orochi Urbanian. There's the signature you guys are smoking right there. And for effect, we've got the steam coming down. But we've got Padron, we've got Dapper, Leaf by Oscar, Tatuaje,
Lots of fog.
Lisa, the fog. Yeah, got to keep the place humidified.
That's right.
And sorry for the bare boxes. It's the end of the weekend, and I usually stock on Monday morning. So
It's all good, man.
but, the standards, some boutique. We just try to keep it real and just try to keep the stock what our guys want more than anything.
Yeah.
Put this guy on and then get you guys around
It's really nice.
the rest of the shop. So we've got some swag as well.
Oh, I like that.
Branded caps, branded Zycar. We've got a local guy from Independence named Ray Whitaker that does our pipes for us.
Nice.
And we've got darts because we actually have a dart board and pool tables on the other side.
How do you keep
It's
people
like
from
a-
poking their eyes out?
I was going to ask that too.
Well, we make them throw one first, and if they pass that test, we'll unleash them on
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, that's cool.
So this allows us to keep the lounge separate from the retail side. I'm gonna pick the lights on. I think it's got it
Oh, I see.
pushed out.
That's all. That's retail.
So this is
This is
got a
lounge.
2,500 square foot lounge.
Wow.
So it used to be a automotive electrical shop.
Okay.
We were able to turn it into the biggest lounge in KC North.
It's
Yeah.
a really nice looking lounge, man. I mean, it's impressive.
Got the pool tables going in. Taking this time, I'll have it up. There we go. Anyway.
That's cool.
Then on top of that, so that's the first floor. But wait, there's more.
Oh, but wait, there's more.
Oh, but wait. We got what Mike says. Thanks.
So is your lounge open after regular hours? The retail stuff?
We do have access for later nights than later nights. So. But yet still keeping the social distancing. We got a little bar up here, Chesterfield furniture,
Nice.
Nice.
restroom, and then we've got
A patio.
Oh, nice.
on the wall. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I'm impressed.
So that's where we, my family and I were actually on my one day off this week. We actually ended up.
Yeah, it's really cool, man.
Downstairs, right next to here, you guys.
When I saw you working on the floor for that thing, that's now that I see it, that's amazing, man.
Yeah, so it's basically a fire door. So we're able to seal off the lounge or the retail part from the lounge. So we do have part of our upper level on our memberships is that you get after hours access to it. But we also offer delivery. So if someone wants to get something, they know they're going to be coming in after hours.
Great idea.
On our website, they can order.
Yeah, it is. I want to make a road trip.
Yeah, like I said, I remember seeing you working on that floor right before you guys opened. Man, it's cool to see it when it's all done.
Yeah, that floor is my arch enemy. We've got a man. It's epoxy over concrete, over stained concrete. So it's what's the right word? It's a fucking bitch with all the snow and the snow and the dirt and everything tracking in there because it's like your phone screen. I mean, if you even look at it wrong, you get smudges on it. And my traps are definitely bigger than what they were before. From just working that mop bucket. Yep, a lot of mopping.
A lot of mopping.
But it's worth it. I mean, it just goes back to it. I mean, here I am at 44 doing the same thing my first job at 14, but it's when somebody walks into the shop, I want them to have a good first experience. And if I've got footsteps all over the floor, that's not what I would want to see when I walk into someplace. So
You're not wrong.
keep that in mind. Just got to do what you got to do.
Not wrong.
So how many people do you have on staff there?
We have 2 full plus timers, which is myself and Ben. We've got 2 part timers, and then our CFO Swinny, who's the business partner Ben. He'll fill in here and there, but he has a full time job separate outside of La Cultura. So yeah, it's basically Ben, myself, and 2 part timers that hold it down. So, but the thing about it is it works well for me. My kids are in school; they're 12 and 14. My wife works. Ben he's got 3 kids. The oldest one is 4, and his wife stays home with them, and she works from home. So him having time off during the day is good. Me having time off in the evening is good. Most of the business happens at night because it is more of a social atmosphere. Mm-hmm. So it works out really well. And then he's got the backup help on our busy nights. And then we've got one guy that works all day Sunday to give Ben and I both a day off. So small staff right now, but we're still getting our feet underneath us. So we just got to do what we got to do. I'd love to be able to get to the point where it's 7 or 8 on staff, and I'm not having to worry about the manual labor nearly as much, and be able to really get things figured out, get things squared away, and just get us moving on to that next step. But we'll get there.
Yeah,
got to walk before you can run.
It's just a process.
Yeah,
It's all baby steps, man.
Oh yeah.
Well, I'm really impressed with your humidor, the way your lounge is laid out, the patio upstairs. I mean, it looks like it is one of the feature lounges I've ever seen. So, I mean, this is pretty nice lounge you guys got there. So you should definitely be proud of all the hard work.
We definitely are.
Yeah, that's great, man. It's I knew that they were going to do big things when they moved out to that new place, but that's really cool seeing it. That's huge.
Yeah, and we were able to secure a Best of Kansas City from the Pitch both for 2019 and while we were closed down for 6 months for 2020. So we're doing something right. We're just trying to make sure we don't step on our own toes and screw it up.
Yeah.
One of my guys, Chris Mullins, he said that that's a real sweet sign you guys have. That was in the chat talking about the Roma.
Yeah. We've got the Neanderthal and the I didn't focus on, but yeah, the Neanderthal, the Cro-Mag, and the Intemperance ones are out around the lounge as well.
So, knowing what you guys are thinking about for the future and everything, that's awesome. But most important, I think, is how do you keep the cloth on that pool table between Burns and guys?
Well, if you notice when those guys were out there shooting that they were wearing masks. So the Kansas City mandate is that if you're not sitting, you need to be wearing a mask. So it's kind of hard to, as we were talking about, it's kind of hard to smoke with a mask. So right now, we're extremely fortunate. So we do keep it vacuum, we do keep it clean, we do, it's just part of the weekly maintenance that we do. But yeah, there will come a time once everything goes back to normal that will happen. There will be the ash, there will be the burn holes, and we'll just have to deal with that bridge, cross that bridge when we get there. But there is also a camera right over the pool table, so it's Big Brother's watching on that one. And if I come in and I see something's out of whack, on the iPad, on the cameras, let's figure out what's going on here. So,
who did this?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh man, no, that's really good, man. I'm glad to see you've landed in a place where you're kind of a duck in water, man. It's I've never came on to someplace just absolutely just feet running before I even hit the ground. I mean, it was off the races from day one, and getting up to speed, working. It helped because Ben and I had worked together before, and we have to work together as a team, and we've done that in the past. So we already knew each other's personalities. He has sold to me as a customer. I've sold to him as a customer when I worked for Zycar. And we'd worked together before. So there wasn't any of that awkward time, trying to figure out the personality. That was already built into place. That was a huge part of it. And then knowing what I got into from being a customer at the shop, it was just time to go off to the races, and we've been at it.
Yeah, it's a good deal.
Well, hey man, I know it's basically your day off today, so I'm not gonna drag this out. We could tell stories all night, but I appreciate you, man. Appreciate your time tonight and showing us the shop. Beautiful store. Anybody ever watching this pops up to Kansas City, go see these guys. Some of my favorite people in the industry. What we've done. Mike, I don't know if you've seen the other ones that we've done, but we've had on some of my favorite people in the industry already.
Mm-hmm.
I watched the first one with Christian. I'm about halfway through the one with Rusty. So yeah, it's Now, did I miss the one? You've had one on with Joel too, right?
Yeah. Joel should be up there as well. Yep. Joel Reeser. Okay. I'm still trying to pin Garrett down. He won't commit. Jonathan just kind of laughed at me, so I'll get them all eventually.
Yeah, we're gonna get them.
We're gonna get them.
Well, I mean, as you have more friends,
we'll figure that out.
As you have more friends get on there, you could start all of a sudden bragging about who you've had on there. Not me per se, but you say, if Styles can make time for it.
That's right. No, but Styles has been one of our better ones. I mean, he did something we've never had happen. A tour.
Well, hey, and it's like I told you, it's like, so you've had Christian on, who's one of your oldest and dearest friends in the industry. You guys have thousands of stories to go off of.
Yeah.
And then you had Joel on, and I've seen that man have hour-long conversations with the wall that were more enticing than some of the conversations I've had. So, I felt honored, and I felt like, there was already pretty high stakes and pretty high bar already set when I got here. So, yeah, I had to do something different. So, let the next guy raise the bar.
That's right.
Yeah, that's right, man.
So I've really enjoyed doing this because it's one of the only opportunities I've had in a year to talk to the people that I'm used to talking to every day, man. And
was that part of the genesis for doing it?
That was definitely a bit of it. Was just, hey, man, we don't get to bullshit with our friends as much as we used to, and with COVID and everything. So this makes a real fortunate time where we can just sit down with our friends and have good chats.
And a lot of people don't get the inner workings. They just take for granted that a cigar's on the shelf. Man, there's a lot, as you know.
Oh, there's so much. Oh, yeah.
And there's a lot of neat stories, and I think that's what makes cigars unique. I mean, alcohol's got their stories, wine, whiskeys, bourbons, but yet cigars, it's personalities and egos and just awesome people that have this crazy idea that they're going to make a cigar and make a lot of money, and that doesn't
None
always
of them
work
made
out.
a lot of money,
Doesn't necessarily work out that way, but
At least they're making
No,
good
but what I haven't made in dollars, I've definitely made in memories and friends. So I mean, that's worth more
Amen.
than anything.
we have a saying here. It's like, it's amazing the kind of people you run into in the cigar shop. I mean, we've ran into doctors and just crazy things, and that's what makes this worth it. Is it can be frustrating at times, but you meet some of the most interesting people that will just walk in off the street. And
Yeah, there's an old trope that says that every cigar shop has the same people in it. And
Oh, yeah.
I don't think that's necessarily a lie. And the other one that always stands true is the cigar shop is interesting because you'll have a lawyer sitting next to a garbage man. They're carrying on a conversation about just about anything, and it's the great equalizer, if you will.
No, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I had when I walked into the shop this afternoon, with my family, and there was one of our lawyer that we use sitting next to a tow truck driver, and
Yeah.
they were literally just shooting the shit about random, just cars even. And it's why I fell in love with it. It's why I went to work in it. It's on my, second stint and second chapter of my story in the cigar industry. So it's unlike anything else I've been a part of, and it's amazing.
Yep.
Hey, before we sign off though, real quick, how's the cigar treating you guys?
Man, it's really good. I'm about halfway through. It still hasn't picked up like hard strength or anything, and really flavorful. It's very different than the classic, but it's still like you can tell it's similar. It's a similar cigar, but it's definitely the box press has changed the flavor profile of the cigar immensely. Right now, it's just a little bit of earth, some good kind of coats your mouth with some of that pepper, but not overly peppery.
That hint, there's a note of sweetness with a little wood to it.
Yeah, there's the wood definitely, and then that sweetness in the finish. It's a nice cigar, man. You guys have done very, very nice, very, very nice work here.
I'll be
Well, I just said it, so I mean, that is hats off to Hiroshi and his crew for that one. But yeah, that's we're very blessed to have it in our lineup.
next time I'm in KC, I'm going to swing by and grab some of these just to have. So
Hey, next time you're on the internet, you can order it anytime. I'll package it up and send it to you, just like I did those.
Boom! What a segue. LaCultura.com.
Yeah, don't lob softball across the middle of the plate. You should know better than that.
So tell us where they can find La Cultura and then yourself.
LaCulturaCigars.com is the best place for the site. We've got the same for Facebook, for Instagram. I'm La Cultura Mike on Instagram. You can find me on Facebook under Mike Stouse. And like the page. We're going to be starting up a group before too long, just because of the success that you had mentioned Underground Cigars has had. What Don has done down there, and prayers out to Don. I don't know if you guys saw he was in the hospital over the weekend, but back home.
I'm sure
prayers to him. He's recovered. Oh, yeah. He's going to outlive us all. There's a reason he has Aussie tattooed on his knuckles. I mean, it goes with it. But at any rate, LaCulturaCigars.com. You can find us on Facebook, La Cultura Cigars for our page, La Cultura Cigars for the Instagram. And that's all I got.
Make sure you get that cigars in there, or you're going to go to a very, very different website. It might be something you don't want to see.
Yeah.
Both of them are over 21.
We checked our virtual neighbors, so no, you're good. You're good.
Mike, thanks again, man. I appreciate you. Appreciate your time.
Hey, thanks for having me on, guys. I really appreciate it. Good seeing you both.
Thank you.
Good seeing
to
you,
see
man.
you.
All right. Take
Say
care,
hi
guys.
to everybody. We'll talk to you soon.
Will do. Take care.
Thanks. Night.